Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. And this watch is a stainless steel 2024 model year, 1,750-piece limited edition from Breitling. It's the Chronomat GMT by Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, this is a fascinating case study in the globalization of the watch industry. We have a Swiss watch whose design was guided by a Greek-Nigerian basketball player for delivery primarily to American market fans and collectors. That said, there are two versions of this watch. One is a chronograph. This is the GMT. The GMT is the more wearable of the two watches, and I find that this really speaks to me. A little bit like the Grand Seiko SBGJ 259, it's got a lovely and vivid combination of greens and yellows. It's also not that large. For a man who's 6'11", Giannis did a great job of speccing something that's sort of under the radar. 40 millimeters in diameter, it's only 11.9 millimeters thick, and 47.3 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip. Now, of course, the base Chronomat GMT is the foundation of this design, but the fact that he chose this model specifically is fascinating to me, given how large he is. This watch fits on my 16-centimeter circumference wrist. One more little detail, though. It's a 20-millimeter lug spacing, but you see how the shoulder of the rouleau-style bracelet expands to overlap with the lugs. So if you want to put a strap on this, you got to remember to go with an OEM or a custom option, because the standard 20-millimeter spacing is not going to meld as perfectly with the flare of the lugs. My wrist is 16 centimeters circumference. You can see this really wears well on me. So as thin as it is, and it's under 12 millimeters thick, it's actually competitive with the Rolex GMT Master 2 in that regard. The timepiece is fairly short across the wrist, and I'd say on the bracelet, which does have a little bit of stiffness, you could wear this on a wrist of 15 centimeters circumference. If you were to put it on a strap with greater flexibility to bend around the wrist, I think 14 centimeters circumference would work just fine, and you can see it will easily fit under a cuff. The rouleau bracelet is something that Breitling's revived in the last couple of years as it's tried to tie the Chronomat line more deeply to its purple patch of success when it was resurrected by the Schneider family in the 1980s. Starting in 1983, the Chronomat went from being a slide rule chronograph in the pre-Schneider era to being something that was more expressly a pilot's-oriented chronograph, often with light-duty diving capability. Well, this trades the chronograph for a GMT. We still have that light-duty diving capability, and this 80s-style rouleau bracelet takes us back to those foundational years. Back in the 80s, the Chronomat was reportedly the best-selling Breitling watch, and the rouleau bracelet was a big part of that. You could see that it features a little bevel along the shoulders of the links. We do have quite a few removable links. They're held by bars and sleeves, so you can't strip them out, but at the same time, if you do want to size this yourself, you're going to need a block and a punch to do so. It is Breitling branded. It's got a double trigger, double folding clasp, and you can see it's a non-sequential close, so either side can close at the same time or in sequence. Taking a quick look now, you can see that we've got a case that's primarily satin finished, though we do have a few polished bevels. Clearly, the owner of this one didn't wear it much. It's still got the original packing stickers. We've got a lovely tapered crown guard structure and the de rigueur post-1980s Chronomat onion-style crown. This and the rider tab bezel are two of the indelible marks left by the early 80s reimagining of the Chronomat. It is a screw-down crown, and this is a 200-meter watch, so with a rotating unidirectional bezel, like I said, it's got light-duty diving capability. Giannis' signature is on the back. You can see one of 1,750, and of course, we've got 200-meter water resistance and an A32, meaning steel, and caliber 32, more on that in a moment. The bezel has the rider tabs. These were originally envisioned to make it easier for gloved pilot hands to use the bezel. Not exactly necessary if we're high and dry, but they do offer a little bit more purchase. Let's listen. It is a very pleasing ratchet. It's both refined and sharp. Sometimes a really sharp bezel can feel extremely mechanical and gratifying in that sense, but not refined or expensive. The silky glide of a bezel that nevertheless has a sharp detent, that's something the best bezels Cartier, Calib de Cartier, Grand Seiko divers, Rolex, and this has that as well. You can see it's not a captive bezel, so it's built a little bit different from other Breitling bezels, but it's still a unidirectional dive style. We've got a luminescent pearl in the bezel. We've got hammerhead indices. Note that all four hands on the dial, including the 24-hour second time zone and the seconds hand, are luminescent, particularly with something you might use on a dive. Having a luminescent seconds hand is important because it lets you know that your watch is operating. What we have here is the Milwaukee Bucks Goodland Green. So this is the green that has been the signature color of Giannis's team since 2015. So like I said, this watch is, although internationally conceived, primarily oriented towards American market NBA fans, specifically those who might be fans of the Bucks. The good news, though, is that other than Giannis's initials on the counterweight of the seconds hand, there's not a lot of overt co-branding here. So if you just like the look of the watch, it doesn't box you into a corner the way the Breitling Chronomat NFL series does. Those all have logos for teams on the dial. This is more subtle. Now you can see we've got lovely rhodium-plated steel applique indices. We've got a 24-hour track outboard for reading the second time zone. And then we've got a lovely green metallic sunburst center. I'll demonstrate how this system works because this is a base ETA 28932, so 5-position adjusted, chronometer certified, bidirectional winding, 42-hour power reserve, 4 hertz beat rate, and of course we've got the second time zone, which moves in big, rapidly settable sweeps, but because it's the ETA foundation, it doesn't work the way a Rolex GMT does. You still have a quick set system for the date down at the bottom. So you've got both a ability to rapidly set the 24-hour hand, but also a traditional quick set. You don't have to move the local hour hand in order to move the date. Now we do have a hacking seconds function, so if you wish to set everything to a reference time, you can stop the seconds hand and do so. Like I said, it's a 2893, which is the dual time version of a 2892, and in this case it's a COSC chronometer certified movement. 32 is the Breitling terminology for a 2893. All of this in a watch that is intended for a very large man, but very wearable on wrists that are not immense. Giannis did a good job with this, and I particularly like the dash of bright, vivid green and yellow. It's a punchy watch as we head into spring, a perfect match for the season. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.